What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope all you're having a great day so far today. Getting into this episode of GH. Listen, shit is about to hit the fan. Dex better tell Sonny what he needs to know, what he wants to know, cause it's like you are about you. He's in for more than a whooping. It looked like he get more than a beating. I knew Sonny was gonna torture his ass to get the answers out of him, because he had him in the back rooms, all strung up, hands all strung up and stuff like that, and it ain't looking good. Because Sonny's suspicious. He was like, you may be telling the truth, maybe you're not, but I'm gonna find out. Because he was like, it's not a coincidence that you were at the scene of all three attacks, which is true. It's too suspicious. So Dex was like, well, shit, I was trying to help Ava and I was trying to help Diane and stuff. Sonny still ain't buying it. Sonny wasn't buying the shit. He was like, nah, I'm not buying what you selling. So he was asking Dex, like, why were you so eager to work for me? And Dex give him this whole story about how he respect him, wanted to learn from him, stuff answers that you can get out of a pamphlet, pretty much. Like, he was giving them little bookworm answers. And Sonny still wasn't buying. He said, nah, He said, I could tell you hiding something. It's something that you're not telling me. I'm like, Dex, you might as well go ahead and tell this man something, because he done brought in some big dude, I guess, that was recommended to Sonny from Miss Wu. And if Miss Wu recommended him, your ass gonna talk one way or the other. Because that man looked like he could crack a walnut with his bare hand. Like, he don't need none of them little plier things. Like, dude looked like he could beat the shit out of you. Like, he looked like a brick wall. So I'm like, Dex, it's in your best interest to say something. And the guy, once Sonny left, the guy was pulling out all these knives and stuff, and Dex was like, okay, you could cut the theatrics and stuff. The guy was like, I'm gonna take my time with you. He said, so you ain't gotta answer no questions. He said, that's what I like. I like to take my time, so you ain't gotta answer shit right now, but one way or the other, you will. I was just thinking to myself, like, Dex, if I were you, the jig is up. I would just tell Sonny all I know about Michael. And be like, listen, Michael hired me to work for your ass to infiltrate your organization. I'll be up in there singing. Listen, I would be singing soprano, because I ain't about to get beat up, cut up. No. Especially not for whatever money Michael's paying him. It's like, it ain't worth all that. And Michael, when he was talking with Sam and stuff, he found out that Dex was brought in or whatever. They suspect that Dex was going to be brought in for questioning and stuff like that. So he made some phone calls and found out, Dex left or whatever. He left the police station and stuff. And he figured, he was like, yeah, he left with Sonny. So he went to go talk to Sonny. And basically asking Sonny all these questions about Dex. Like, oh, you really think he could do this? And Sonny started to get suspicious. Like, why do you care? You know what I'm saying? Because he was basically telling Michael, take your ass home. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Go home. This ain't your business. Don't worry about it. So Michael kept on going and going, and Sonny just like, why do you care so much what happens to Dex? Like, what is he to you? So Michael better come up with a good cover story if he want to keep his plan, and if he want to keep his plan intact, you better come up with something good, something that's believable. Cause Sonny ain't believing shit. And I feel like these attacks on people and Dex being at the crime scene really messed up Michael's plan for Sonny. Whatever plan that may be. But that shit really threw a monkey wrench in those plans. So, I mean, like I said, Dex, start snitching. The jig is up. I would start telling everything I know. Because I ain't about to get cut, stabbed up, beat up. No, absolutely not. So anyway, Jocelyn was with Dante or whatever because she refuses to believe that Dex is, the culprit. And she admitted to Dante that when she left Charlie's to go look for Dex to bring him his sunglasses, she heard the jingling sounds. The same sounds that Brando heard. Something jingling and stuff like that. Sound like it could have been, two bracelets or something like that. It was like a real jingly noise. And she admitted she heard that. And Dante said, well, Brando said he heard the same thing. And they know that Dex wear dog tags. So that could have been the dog tags jingling. And she remembered that he had them on at the pool. And she said when she went to go give him his sunglasses, she didn't see him. And Dante was like, maybe that's because he didn't want to be seen. which is true because he is ex-military. So he could creep in and out without you seeing him. But I do agree that would have been a little too fast. And I don't know if he's that fast of a person to change his clothes that quick and put on something all black with some gloves and grab a hook. Because Jocelyn wasn't that far behind him when he walked out the room, when he walked out the bar. So in order for him to do all that, he would have had to been fucking Speedy Gonzalez, like, in order to pull that off. Like, you would have had to be a jackal in the night to do something like that. That's pretty elaborate. So then they were talking about the whole Ava attack and stuff like that, and he was like, was he wearing the dog tags that night? She said, well, he could have been, but it could have been underneath his shirt, and I wouldn't know. So Dante was asking what he had on that night. She was like, he had on a white shirt that night or whatever, a t-shirt. And he said, was it clean, like a clean shirt? She was like, yeah, it was clean. So he started ruffling through his files and stuff, looking for a file or whatnot. I think Dante, he might have hit on a clue. He may have hit on a clue. But I don't believe that, I don't believe Dex is the culprit, though. Because I feel like with that much blood that Ava had, there could have been some splatter. With the blood that, Diane had and stuff like that, she was laying in a pool of blood, stuff like that. When you're stabbing somebody with a hook and all that, there's going to be some type of splatter, a little bit of splatter. Even if it's not like a gusher of like blood coming on to the next person that did it, it's going to be a little drip of blood, like droplets and stuff like that. So I think that may be what Dante is hoping to look for. Maybe try to find something that could connect Dex to the case, because if they can't connect them to it, then you're gonna have to just keep on looking, kick them loose, something. But this case is heating up at the moment. It's getting pretty big. So anyway, moving on from that, Maxie need to get a damn clue, because Spinelli was watching, tucking Georgie in and stuff when Maxie and Austin came back, and we only see Austin every 2 months. Roger Howard deserves so much better than this. I feel bad for him. But Maxie keeps trying to reassure Austin that Georgie's going to come around, and, it's messed up how she keeps trying to avoid him and stuff. I'm like, Maxie, get the clue, get the hint. Your daughter's not feeling him. It's that simple. She just don't like him. And besides, I think after the whole Peter debacle, I feel like it's too soon for Maxie to be bringing new dudes around her kids. I feel like it's way too soon for that. And she needs to buy a clue. And take her time with the dating process. You know what I mean? Like, be single for a while. I'm just saying. Like, I think she moved on a little too quickly after Peter. And, I think you should at least take 6 months, to... If you're going to date, at least take 6 months before you bring the new dude around your kids. Like, I'm just saying. Put a time frame on it. So anyway, I'm getting so sick and tired of Cody thinking that every time he sees Spinelli, he gonna threaten him every single time. It's getting so old and so annoying. Because as Spinelli was leaving the apartment and stuff, to go check on Diane, Cody comes walking up and stuff, and Spinelli basically told him, kick rocks, you're not coming in. And Cody again threatens him. Oh, I know your secret, and you better stay out of my way. And I'm like, dude, ain't nobody scared of your little punk ass. Go sit down somewhere. So he comes up in the apartment and calls Maxie sis and stuff like that. And that's when Maxie was like, oh, so you must know or suspect or whatever that you could be Mac's son. And he was surprised by that, because he was like, I was only kidding when I called you sis. He was like, it was just a joke. But you are really suggesting that Mac could be my dad? And he wasn't too keen on that. He wasn't too happy about it. And I'm glad Maxie spoke up for Mac and the type of father that Mac is, because I do agree. I think Mac is an exceptional father, and Cody would be lucky to have him as a dad if it turns out Mac is his father. You know what I mean? Even though I'm praying that that's not the case. I mean, I would love for Mac to have his own child, but a biological. But at the end of the day, even if he never has a biological child, Maxie and Georgie are always going to be considered his kids. At least by me. I'm always going to see them as his daughters. It doesn't matter if their last name is Jones or whatever. That's still his daughters. Those are still his grandkids. He raised them. He's been there for them since day one. So, those, blood don't matter. Biology don't matter at this point. But I definitely feel like if Mac were to have a biological child, he could do better than Cody. I'm just saying. Because he's starting to grate on my damn nerves. And I noticed that Cody took an interest in Austin's last name, especially the Gatlin part of his name. He took an interest in it. And Austin was standing there the whole time Maxie and Cody were talking. Austin kept having this uneasy look on his face. And I just wonder, like, what is going on? Like, because every time somebody mentions a name, Cody gets intrigued by it. So it's like, what do you know about these people? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm starting to feel like he knows a hell of a lot more about the people in that town than he likes to let on. You know? Like, something is fishy with him. So, anyway, moving on from that. You know, Spinelli met up with Sam or whatever, and they were talking about Austin and whatnot. And he feels like the reason Georgie don't like Austin is because Georgie picks up on Spinelli's negative vibe about him or whatever. And that's what he thinks it is. I mean, could that be a part of it? Sure. But I really do feel like Georgie's old enough to have a mind of her own. And it's like, I just think that little girl is burnt out from all these different dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to deal with Peter especially after everything with Peter. I think she needs a break from it. You know what I mean? That's traumatizing. I don't know how much she knows about what happened with Peter. But that's why I said before, Maxie needs to cool it when it comes to bringing these dudes around her kids. Like, you need to take a while to really get to know them. I mean, extensively get to know them. And, you know, take a few months and then introduce them to your kids. You can't have a parade of men around your children. So, Sam pretty much feels like Spinelli is jealous. And Spinelli pretty much admitted, he was like, you know, I still got feelings for Maxie and stuff like that and whatnot. I could see that. You know, Spinelli and Maxie have been through a lot. You know, they've been in each other's lives for a mighty long time. Over 13 years, you know, they've been in each other's life. And I wouldn't be mad if they ever got back together again, but it got to be the right time. You know what I mean? Like, they got to be in a different space to do that. I'm glad Spinelli finally told Sam that he's the one behind the society setups or whatever they call it. I'm glad he finally told her, but, you know, he's afraid about going to prison because he broke a lot of protocols to get that thing going. And that's why I said before, all he had to do was call Diane before to see if, you know, she can get him out of it. Because I'm pretty sure if anybody can, it would be her. So he better hope and pray that he can, you know, hang on to that secret until she's, you know, fully recuperated. I'm just saying. But I would get on top of this thing. So that way he could take Cody's little blackmail and threatening away. You know. So that way it could be finally, you know, he can finally get from under it. He ain't got to worry about nobody threatening and blackmailing. But I'm just glad he finally opened up to Sam about it, because it was draining watching him talk to Sam and try to avoid her every time. It was just super annoying. It's like, dude, tell her the truth already. So anyway, moving on from that, I thoroughly enjoyed the confrontation between Jordan and Porsha, because I feel like it needed to happen. They got a lot off their chests. Jordan pretty much flat out asked her. She said, "Is Trina Curtis's daughter?" And Porsha just went into this little rant about, oh, that's, you know, my daughter is none of your business. And, you know, this is all about you wanting Curtis back. My whole thing was throughout her entire rant, and I love how Jordan brought that up. She was like, at the end of the day, Curtis is going to be a part of her life. They're still family. No matter what happens between them, they're still going to be in each other's orbit. But she also took note of how Porsha never directly answered her question of if Curtis is that girl's father. Porsha never answered it. And she didn't. She never answered that question. And Jordan basically tried to tell her, like, listen, secrets have a way of coming out. And it's true, they do. Especially when you live in Port Charles. So it's like, tell the man, you know, before it ends up coming out. Porsha took it as a threat, basically. She took it as Jordan threatening her. And Jordan was simply telling her, like, you can't marry him with this big-ass secret hanging over y'all relationship. You can't start a marriage that way, which is true. And Jordan is telling her from experience. Like, she kept some things from Curtis, and that's why they're in the situation that they are in. And she's trying to prevent that from happening with Porsha and Curtis by letting her know, like, you need to tell him now. You know, you don't want to get married with something like this hanging over you. And again, Porsha just kept taking it as a threat, like, oh, so you're basically saying, if I don't tell him first, then you will. That's not what she's saying. She's not directly saying that, but it's like, it's going to come out one way or the other, whether she tell it or you tell it. Somebody going to find out, because Jordan knows that, for one, You took a genetics test, or you try to get a genetics test to see if Trina has, the schizophrenia trait, plus the little thing that you told her when y'all were in the basement about the truth about her father. So all she did was connect the dots. You might as well go ahead and tell that man, because it's gonna be a hot mess. And Curtis is already acting like a father to Trina, and Trina is taking notice of it because she was telling Ava that, Curtis treats her like she's 12 years old and stuff. And, Ava was reassuring her, like, listen, I know that you already got a mother and father, but, it's nothing wrong with having Curtis as an extra parent and stuff like that. And Taggart walked up because Curtis was kind of going off because he felt like Trina shouldn't be walking around town with some psycho out there, and she shouldn't be walking around by herself, but Taggart was with her or whatever. And, he apologized for overstepping his bounds and stuff like that. He was in pure dad mode. And it was kind of awkward watching him and Taggart sit together and talking about Trina and stuff. It was a little awkward because I'm like, okay. In the back of my mind, I always wondered if Taggart had a suspicion about it, on whether or not that was not his daughter and that could be Curtis's daughter. I always wondered that, and sometimes I still wonder that. Like, do he really know or really suspect, and he just don't want to say it, or he's suppressing it or whatever? I be wanting to know. So basically, Curtis wants to protect Trina at this point. So he told Ava, like, listen, I need you to do me a favor. He said, I need you to fire Trina. Ava was like, hell no. She said, what am I fire the girl for? She was like, I look at Trina as if she's one of my own daughters. So why would I do that? Basically, he wants to protect her. He feels like her being at the gallery with this maniac running around and her being there by herself and all that type of stuff, that ain't no good. He was like, no. He said, I can't risk that. And so Ava went along with it. She sent Trina a text and stuff like that, letting her know, like, I can't be your boss anymore. And I feel bad for Trina because she's old enough to make her own decisions, which is true. I understand they want to protect her, but she's old enough for them to sit down and talk to her. Like, why not just hire her some security or something? It's not like Porsha can't afford it. You are a doctor. She can hire security or talk to Sonny. Hell, even Ava could offer to, get her some guards and stuff like that. Ava got money too. Like, there's other methods besides firing her from a job that she loves, even if it is for her own protection. It's like, come on now, it's other ways to do it, because I don't want to see Trina get upset with Ava and stuff like that, and it sours their relationship, even if, it's for a good reason, but still, she's old enough to know the real, so tell her the truth. She old enough to take it. So anyway, that was pretty much the whole episode. Hit the comment section, let me know what you all thought about this episode, and I will see you all later. You all have a great night. Peace.